Hi everyone, welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Clark Wolf, and this is our daily show bringing you the latest in movie news with insight into what it all means. Joining me as always is AMC Movie News Editor-in-Chief John Campea. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Clark. Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm actually doing very well, thank you, sir. How are you?
Excellent, thank you.
Very good. And also joining us this morning on his birthday is the director of the upcoming The Death of Superman Lives. What happened? Jon Schnepp.
Hey, what's going on, everyone?
Happy birthday,
Happy
Schnepp.
birthday, Schnepp.
Thank you. Thanks. And what a birthday it was. On the eve of my birthday, 12 midnight, I saw Star Trek Into Darkness.
Which leads us into...
Perfect segue. Last night, AMC theaters everywhere, the highly anticipated Star Trek Into Darkness officially debuted. Both Campea and Schnepp have seen the film, so guys, what'd you think?
I'll start with this. Wow. It is everything I was hoping that it would be. I'm not going to sit here and say that it exceeded all my expectations because my expectations were pretty high. Okay. But it met my pretty damn high expectations. You know, JJ did in this Star Trek what he did in the last one. Mm-hmm. I believe, and some people try to argue with me, but I believe JJ does a really great job of maintaining the spirit of Star Trek while also dragging it into our modern context because people want spectacle and big and action, and he does all of that. He's done a masterful job at the quippy little conversations and dialogue between those characters. He absolutely nailed those. I think that's my favorite part of the movies is the dialogue. The dialogue is so damn good and so damn fresh. And you know, again, all these performers do such a great job with this movie. It's exciting. It's funny. It's entertaining. It's engaging. It kind of keeps you on the edge of your seat a number of times. For me, this movie is just an unbelievable win. I'm not going to call it the best movie of the year or, you know, it's not on Avengers level or anything like this, but this is definitely worth your money. This is a fun, entertaining film. I'm completely thrilled with it. Schnepp, what about you?
Anyway. Hey guys. Sorry, I'm just looking at this really cool Star Trek Enterprise metal statue thing that I got. What Star Trek Into Darkness? And I think it's the best movie of the summer. And being a Star Trek fan, I think the writing was so smart. There are so many little in-jokes and little references to all of the original Star Trek movies and the characters and certain characters that they interact with within the episodes. I think the pacing of the film was incredible. It was fast-paced. I can't believe how much they crammed into a 2-hour movie. I mean, it felt like there was multiple stories going on, and it still felt like it was too short. I wanted it to be another hour. So I was blown away at how amazing it was. And for me, it's the movie to beat. So, I mean, bring on Man of Steel, bring on all these other films. Star Trek Into Darkness is the blockbuster summer, the best movie I've seen so far this summer. You know,
we were talking about how the performances are so good. I think just about every one of them of the cast elevated their performance over the last one. I mean, Simon Pegg is a better Scotty in this film than he was in the last film. We've got a better Sulu. We've got a better Uhura. We've got a better Spock. We've got a better Kirk. And, of course, Benedict Cumberbatch was amazing. I mean, he was really, really slick and really, really great. I just can't say enough about it. But
don't forget about Carl Urban.
Oh, and yeah, Bones. He was even a better Bones.
The best Bones yet.
Oh,
so awesome.
Yeah, he was so good. Now, I'm going to give... it's hard to... I hesitate saying spoiler alert because I'm about to say something. If you don't want to know anything about Star Trek, anything, then fast forward about 3 minutes right now to the next topic, okay? I'm giving you a second to do that.
Spoilers.
But this is something that gets kind of revealed like halfway through the film. This isn't like a big reveal at the end or anything like that. This is a detail that's given about halfway through the film. I don't really consider it that big of a spoiler, but you might. So if you don't want to know anything, fast forward. You've been warned, all right? Okay, if you're still here we go. I told you so! I told you so! From day one, I said... I'm the only guy who said from day one, Cumberbatch is Khan. Oh, but John Roberta Orsi just came out. The guy who wrote the movie. He said he's definitely not Khan. What I say? Forget it. He's Khan. Oh, but John, Alice Eve. Here's on video Alice Eve on the red carpet at the British Academy Awards. And she says, no, he's not Khan. And I said, doesn't matter what she said. He's Khan. And then, oh, but John, Carl Urban, your buddy. Here's a picture. I'm going to have Dennis pull this picture of me and Carl Urban on the day that he apparently let slip that Benedict Cumberbatch was actually playing Gary Mitchell. And what did I say? Said, I don't buy it. He's Khan. Over and over and over again, I said he's Khan. I want to read you this because I got so much email from so many people telling me what an idiot I am because I was still saying he's Khan. Here's one. John, dude, I normally love your show, but you've got to be one of the biggest morons in the world. If Alice Eve, who is in the movie, is telling us that he's not Khan, then now you're just being stubborn by saying that he is. Clearly he's not. Get over yourself. You don't know anything. Really? I told you so. And I get to act like that when I get emails like that. And I got lots of those kinds of emails. So, yeah, I had to get that off my chest.
That was also one of the best parts of the movie. Khan! Right?
Oh my!
Not spoiler.
Oh my gosh! It was just, yeah. So he was Khan. I have no idea why they waited so long to tell people that he was. It's not like it was important. It's not like it was a big secret or an important secret in the movie. They reveal it pretty quickly. I mean. But that aside, so getting over that, he was great as the villain. If you're back now and you didn't hear the spoiler, Benedict was great as the villain.
Right. The Wrath of John Harrison, or whatever his name was. Right?
The Wrath of John Harrison.
It's the all-time most downloaded game from all app stores, and now it's heading to the big screen with a major partner. It was announced today that Sony Pictures Entertainment has won the exclusive worldwide distribution rights to the Angry Birds animated film after a hard fight against several other major studios. Yes, Angry Birds! Despicable Me producer John Cohen and Iron Man executive producer David Maysel are on board to produce the film, which will hit AMC theaters everywhere on July 1st, 2016. John, are you excited for an Angry Birds movie? You look thrilled.
No. Look, I'm not saying this couldn't be great. Of course, any film that's starting off production could end up being great. But then, you know how I often get in trouble because I say, look, folks, video games are awesome as games, but they're made to be games for gameplay. They're not made for narrative because really, when you boil it all down, you got about 10 minutes of narrative in most games. And people who don't want to see logic try to argue with me. This is a great example of that. Really? An Angry Birds movie? Okay, look, it might end up being great because, like I said, any movie that's starting off has as much potential as anything to be great. So may it be great. But I can't really. Sony was fighting with other studios. There was a battle going on to get the rights to this. Okay, whatever. Look, I have fun playing Angry Birds too, but how there was a fight over this is completely beyond me. Schnepp, what do you think?
Oh, I'm sorry, I was too busy playing Farmville the movie. That's what I said. I was like, I can't. I really Angry Birds the movie. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's going to be awesome, right? No, it's. Pigs? I don't get it. I'm super not excited about Angry Birds the movie, and they should actually make Farmville the movie because I keep getting these weird people asking me to help them grow a patch of watermelons, and do I have any spare rice or help me, help them make a new fence?
Because the best movies are based on reality in real life.
When are we going to get a Oregon Trail movie?
That's
what I want to know.
I'm sure it's coming soon.
That would be delightful.
How about somebody make Warcraft, but for Christ's sake? I don't need to see. How about Halo? What's up?
Oregon Trail.
Angry Birds battle.
Oregon Trail.
I'm fighting over the rights of Angry Birds. Someone buy the rights of Halo and make it. So.
All right, battle cry. Here we go. The first official trailer for Vin Diesel's Riddick hit the web yesterday. The movie opens in AMC theaters on September 6th. In the film, the infamous Riddick has been left for dead on a sun-scorched planet that appears to be lifeless. Soon, however, he finds himself fighting for survival against alien predators more lethal than any human he's encountered. The only way off is for Riddick to activate an emergency beacon and alert mercenaries who rapidly descend to the planet in search of their bounty. Schnepp, what do you think of the new Riddick trailer?
Man, I think the new Riddick trailer is incredible. Look at the action sequences in Star Trek Into Darkness are incredible. What do you right, John Campea?
Oh yes,
such amazing space battles and really Riddick. I thought the new trailer is incredible. I'm blown away, and I gotta say that the first Riddick I loved. The second Riddick I saw in the theater, I was like, wow, that was weird, and I didn't like it. And then upon later viewing, it became like, whatever. Some people don't like the term guilty pleasure, but it became a guilty pleasure for me. Like, it's so weird and strange. Necromongers. Remember that? We are from the other universe, the dark universe. We are necromongers. It sounds totally stupid, but then when you get into it, it's almost like watching David Lynch's Dune. Riddick, the Chronicles of Riddick is so weird and has these bizarre layers of like, he is now God. Riddick is God. Why? Why make him God? It was just it's bizarre and strange. So I'm really excited to see them throw him back into kind of like a fusion of Pitch Black and the second Riddick and make this weird film where he's on a planet and Katie Sackhoff is in it. She's awesome from Battlestar. So 1,000 monsters and then Vin Diesel having to jump around and use his like silver eye stuff. It's going to be awesome.
and of course, don't forget, Carl Urban's back.
That's right.
David Bautista's in there. Here's the thing. With this trailer, if you are like Schnepp and you enjoyed the first Riddick thing, it's perfect that way you said. It is an amalgamation. That trailer of the new film is an amalgamation of the other two Riddick movies. If you're a fan of those movies, you're going to love this trailer. If you're like me, who did not really like the first two films, then you'll go, meh, it has potential. And that was my feel. I looked at it and said, okay, this has potential. At first, the first 20 seconds I thought kind of looked lame. So, oh, this is going to be lame. And then the trailer got better and better and better. But yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the first one. I really didn't like the second one personally. So yeah, I think if you're like Schnepp and you do like those films, you're going to love this trailer. If you're like me and you're like, on the first two movies, you're going to be unimpressed by the trailer.
John Campea, watch those movies again. I'm telling you.
I'll try it again.
Shot.
All right, folks, listen, we've come to that part of the show for buy or sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Clark's got a bunch of other items in the world of movie news that she's going to go through, and then Schnepp and I are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Clark, what do we got?
Academy Award-winning actress Reese Witherspoon has joined Paul Thomas Anderson's Inherent Vice. Witherspoon joins her Walk the Line co-star Joaquin Phoenix, Benicio del Toro, and Owen Wilson in the big screen adaptation of Thomas Pynchon's 2009 novel by the same name. The story is described like this. It's been a while since Doc Sportello has seen his ex-girlfriend. Suddenly, she shows up with a story about a plot to kidnap a billionaire land developer whom she just happens to be in love with. It's the tail end of the psychedelic 60s in LA, and Doc knows that love is just another one of those words going around at the moment, like trip or groovy. except this one usually leads to trouble. John, buy or sell Witherspoon and Inherent Vice?
You know what? I really like Reese Witherspoon. Obviously, I like Benicio del Toro, Joaquin Phoenix, but I got to sell this. To me, on the surface, which is all I've got is the surface right now. This seems really corny, like all the gin joints and all the bars and all the things in LA. She had to walk into mine. It's like, oh, really? That feels kind of lame. Yeah. Maybe it'll be awesome. Maybe it'll be brilliant. I mean, if acting caliber of this magnitude is signing up, there's obviously got to be something really good to it. But just from what I see right now, I got to sell it. Schnepp?
I got to buy it, and I got to buy 1,000 of them. Main reason, Thomas Pynchon.
Yeah.
This is the first film adaptation of one of his novels. I read Gravity's Rainbow when I was in college, and it blew my mind. And just with Thomas Pynchon alone, I don't care who was cast in it and what they say is like the setup or premise. If they're adapting a Thomas Pynchon movie, it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be weird. It's going to be awesome. So good. Reese Witherspoon, you just scored an amazing deal to be in a Pynchon movie. So I'm buying it.
All right.
Cool. Samuel L. Jackson has joined director Kyle Newman's new film, Barely Lethal. Jackson joins Haley Steinfeld in the film described as an action comedy featuring Steinfeld as a 16-year-old international assassin yearning for a normal adolescence. After she fakes her own death and enrolls as a senior in a suburban high school, she quickly learns that being popular can be more painful than getting waterboarded. Schnepp, buy or sell Jackson in Barely Lethal?
I gotta sell it. Barely Lethal. Hey, good. Barely legal. Barely baby. Stupid title. It just maybe it's me in the morning. I think it sounds stupid and dumb, and like a really horrible like C grade. One of those movies that comes out in February. They're like, we don't really know what to do with it, and it's barely watchable. How about that?
I'm going to buy this. I make it a point not to follow or be friends on Facebook with a lot of directors, celebrities, except for Kyle Newman, because I really like Kyle Newman. I think his work is really, really quite good. This sounds like a bit of a cross between Hannah and Kick-Ass. Mm-hmm. It sounds like an amalgamation. And, Samuel Jackson is like the badass mentor and stuff like that. It does sound stupid, but it sounds like stupid, awesome fun. So sign me up as a buy.
I'm still selling it, but I reserve the right to be wrong, because Hannah and Kick-Ass would be a great movie. So if it's something like that, I'm going to watch it and eat my own words digitally.
All right.
But I sell it.
We'll have to see. Okay, next up, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Chris Pine, and Amanda Seyfried have reportedly all joined the Tobey Maguire-produced film Z for Zechariah. The story, a psychological thriller, follows a girl who believes she is the only survivor after a devastating nuclear event, but comes to learn she is not alone, based on the post-apocalyptic Robert C. O'Brien 1974 novel. John, buy or sell Z for Zechariah?
For me, this is absolutely a buy. Look, I'm a natural sucker for anything that's post-apocalyptic. Like if it's after some terrible disaster where everybody dies, sign me up. But also, I think Ejiofor, I've been saying for a very long time, is one of my absolute. He is more than Denzel Washington or anybody else. He is my favorite black actor in Hollywood. Has been forever. I think he's like maybe top. I said 10 before, but I gotta say maybe top 6 best actors working in the world today. He just never gets these huge roles to really showcase his talent. He's unbelievable. So for all those reasons and more, I got to make this a buy.
I'm also going to make this a buy, also because it's post-apocalyptic, but it was written in 1974, so it's not going to be like a Twilight post-apocalyptic. Mm-hmm. It's not a young adult movie that just got spewed out last year to try to cash in on this weird craze. So hopefully it's dark, and it's Tobey Maguire producing it, so he's got some sensibilities to him. So I'm going to buy it.
All right, well, that'll do it for Schnepp for us today. Schnepp, thanks a lot for joining us. Hey, listen, where can everybody find you online?
I'm on just follow me on Twitter, and I just started my Vine account, making some crazy videos, just total stupidity. And look for the Death of Superman Lives. What happened? I'm going to be going to Phoenix Comic-Con and the Philadelphia Comic-Con in the next 2 weeks, and I'll be there making appearances and showing some clips of Grim Fairy Tales and other things. So and also join me on Facebook. I'm pals with John Campea and a couple other people. So.
All right, thanks a lot, Schnepp. Well, listen, folks, it's that time of the show for Mailbag. Look, if you've got a topic or a question that you would like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. We get an awful lot of email from you guys. We get through a bunch of them every day. Right now, Clark's got a few of them pulled out of the mailbag. So, Clark, what do we got?
All right, first up, Alexander Legend writes, do you think Vin Diesel would make a good Martian Manhunter? He's got the voice, already bald, and has the look of a superhero.
You know what? I don't generally like, hey, would you like to see this person play this superhero questions? But this is actually a pretty good fit. I do see Vin Diesel playing that. You're right. He's got the voice for it to play John. I keep wanting to say John Bones Jones because of the MMA fighter. To play John Jones. He's got the build for it. He's hulking. He can do that voice like really great. And all he's got to do is pretend he's afraid of fire, and he's the perfect match for Martian Manhunter. I'm in.
Okay. Jake Merowitz writes, hey guys, I love the show. I was just wondering if they would ever make a sequel to 2011's Paul. I think that it was a great movie and that Kristen Wiig, Seth Rogen, Simon Pegg, and Nick Frost did a great job in it. What do you guys think about a sequel?
I am a huge, devoted, passionate fan of, and I know Paul had nothing to do with Edgar Wright, but of Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg, Nick Frost. Actually, Dennis got pulled up this picture of me and Simon Pegg at my party last year. I love these guys. I love hanging out with them whenever I get a chance to do it. But Paul, for me, was a failure.
Yeah.
I did not like Paul. Mm-hmm. I wanted to like it. I'm predisposed to loving these guys. Mm-hmm. I'm biased for liking these guys. And yet that was a film for me that just did not work. I didn't find it at all funny, which is the most important part about a comedy. To me, it didn't make me laugh. I mean, there were one or two jokes that hit pretty well, but didn't make me laugh. It felt like it lacked direction that, oddly enough, ridiculous films of theirs like Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, they did feel like they had great direction to them. This one didn't really for me, so I don't think they have any plans to do it, and I wouldn't hope that they would do one. So that's just me.
Sigourney Weaver cameo, though.
Always
Pretty-
up for Sigourney
yeah.
Weaver cameo.
Fair.
Always.
We can agree on that. Okay. Peter Vincent writes, "Hey guys, love the show. My question is this. I keep hearing they won't make another standalone movie for the Hulk. So why not have a team-up movie with Black Widow and Hawkeye? I think people would flock to this movie. I mean, there are a lot of team-up stories in the comics. You would have Thor in an Iron Man comic or the Hulk in Fantastic Four comic. They do it all the time. It sounds like a great idea to me, and I think it would kill at the box office. Am I right on or way off? What do you think?"
Hey, thanks for the question, Peter. I think you're way off, actually. I do. Yeah, making a Hulk film is difficult. Look, I was jumping up and down on tables, screaming and demanding like a 5-year-old, give me a Hulk movie after I saw Avengers. But the more I thought about it and the more people talked to me about it who had the other point of view, they convinced me. It's really difficult to do a Hulk movie if he's not fighting a full alien Martian invasion. Because what's Hulk going to fight? Now, the team up that you propose is kind of interesting, but the reality is nobody really cares about Hawkeye or Black Widow outside of being supporting characters. They're really good supporting characters in films like Avengers, Black Widow in the One Iron Man. I'm sure she'll be a great supporting character in Captain America. But let's face it, you can take any one of the Avengers and they would kill Hawkeye and Black Widow together in a fight in about 5 seconds. And what are they going to do in a team-up movie with the Hulk?
Yeah.
So they fight, the Abomination comes back. So the Hulk's fighting Abomination and Hawkeye and Black Widow go get cheeseburgers. I mean, what are they going to do against Abomination or anything that the Hulk could fight? So I don't think it would be huge at the box office because I don't think generally people care about Hawkeye or Black Widow as standalone characters. And it just, functionally, it doesn't make sense. The two weakest possible characters with the strongest, mightiest character, to me, it doesn't really work. But I'd still be first in line to see it.
Maybe an animated version.
An animated would work fine.
That'd be
sure,
cool.
Absolutely.
Okay. Simon Blakemore writes, "Hey guys, I love the show. It's one of the best around. Keep up the good work. My question is this. Do you think J.J. Abrams will make a good Star Wars movie?" John, I know you're ready to answer this one. "I'm just wondering, with all things going good for them, is there a chance he might fall into the same trap that George did when he made the prequels? I hope not, because I want Star Wars to be great again."
It's a ridiculous sounding question, but it's actually a very, very legit, fair question. Yeah, I do think J.J. will do a great job with Star Wars, especially after watching the last Star Trek. My one hesitation about J.J. doing Star Wars was that movie he did, Super 8, which I thought was a bad film. I just thought it was not the worst I've ever seen. I thought it was a bad film.
It's a little boring.
But he has renewed my faith in J.J. Abrams with this Star Trek. But you mentioned, will he fall into the same trap as George Lucas? The trap that George Lucas fell into was he went 20 years without making a movie.
Yeah.
And then when he did come back after being away from the director's chair for so long, and George Lucas was never a natural director. He's a natural storyteller. He's a natural producer. He's a natural creator. But he's not necessarily a natural director because he's never liked working with actors. But George Lucas has become so powerful. And Star Wars was so his, like literally owned by him, that nobody around Skywalker Ranch had the authority to ever say to him no, or to even suggest to him that something he was bringing up was a bad idea. Like I've talked to a lot of guys who worked at Lucasfilm and stuff like that. It's just like everybody loves George, but everybody also knows you can't criticize George. You can't say no to any of his ideas. If he says it, you just go with it. And all those things are problems that J.J. Abrams is not going to face. J.J. Abrams does not own Star Wars. He will have a lot of people around him who have the authority to say no to a bad idea. And that makes for good filmmaking. Yeah. Talk to Joss Whedon. Joss Whedon was just talking about how his collaboration with Kevin Feige and Disney and how they poked and prodded and corrected things he wanted to do. He didn't just have 100% autonomy. And he says, Joss Whedon says, that made for a better movie. And I agree. Filmmaking is a collaboration. J.J. does not have the George Lucas power. J.J. has not gone 20 years in between films, so he won't fall into those traps. So yes, I do believe he's going to give us a good Star Wars movie.
Jerry Edwards writes, "Hey, I really liked the show. My question is, why is it so hard to find out who owns the rights to what characters? It's different at every site I look at. Anyway, I read that Disney owns the television rights to all Marvel characters. Does this include live action TV or just animation?"
It's a question, Jerry. Thank you for the question, because I've been getting this from literally I've gotten this same question from about 40 or 50 different people asking me in different variations. Can Marvel now, with this Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show, can they use characters like Spider-Man? Because we all know they can't use them in the movies. Can they use characters like Fantastic Four? Can they? I know about 3 guys who work at Disney. And I sent out emails and put in calls to all 3 of them. 2 of them basically said, I don't know. I don't know if they can use them or not. But one of them said to me, no, we can't. Disney and Marvel cannot use live action versions of Spider-Man. They cannot use live action versions of Fantastic Four. They cannot use live action versions of X-Men in their TV properties. In animation, they can, but in live action, they cannot. Now, he said he's not willing to die for that belief, but he said that his understanding as somebody who works at Disney is that they can't do that. So, in the realm of live action, think of the television series Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. having to follow the exact same rules as Marvel does on the big screen. They cannot use X-Men, Fantastic Four, or Spider-Man. That's his understanding, so that's what I'm going to go with for now.
Liam Burns writes, hey guys, awesome show. My question is regarding the 2010 Robin Hood film that starred Russell Crowe. I really liked this movie, and it seemed to set up a sequel. Have you heard any news on a sequel, and what were your thoughts on the film?
I hated the film, which was really hard for me because Russell Crowe, I believe for almost 7 years now, I've believed that he's the best actor on the planet. I just do. When it comes to diversity and the different types of roles he can do, I don't think anybody touches him. And I really thought this was a bad movie. I wanted to like this movie so much. I wanted to like it so bad, and I thought it was terrible, just awful. And the fact of the matter is, it lost money. Now, some people will look, a lot of people don't understand how money works. So they'll look at, say, some box office website. I'll say, but John, how can you say this movie lost money? It says worldwide it made $320 million. Okay, yes. Worldwide it made $320 million. But it also had a production budget of over $200 million. They also spent between $25 and $30 million to market it. Then out of that $325 million that it made worldwide, about $100 million of that doesn't go back to the studios. About $100 million of that goes to the movie theater owners who show the movies. Then on top of that, you've got the kickback money. Russell Crowe has his payment. He gets $3 million, but then he also gets X amount of percentage of the box office. When you take all that in consideration, it sounds weird, but that $320 million making movie actually lost money. And that's not with funny Hollywood accounting that we've heard about. It actually legit lost money. So the critics didn't like it. The fan rating is also considered a rotten. So the fans didn't generally like it. The critics didn't like it. It lost the studio a lot of money. No, we're never going to see a sequel to that Robin Hood.
Kenneth Hernandez writes, you guys are the best hosts of shows. With all the great directors, who do you think will be able to surpass the great mastermind Steven Spielberg as the next greatest director of all time?
This is a great question. I mean, a lot of people argue about who's the greatest director of all time.
Right. Is
it Hitchcock? Is it Scorsese? For me personally, I believe Spielberg, but there's very few wrong answers here because there's some great all-time great directors. For me, it is Spielberg. So who could be the next one? Okay. There are 2 guys that I really look at who are both very young. I think they're like under 41, both of them. And I just look at their pure, not the success of the films that they've had, but their pure storytelling ability. One guy who comes to mind that would be in my number 2 position is Jason Reitman.
Yes.
Jason Reitman. He's only like 36 years old. He has made films, Academy Award nominated and winning films, Up in the Air, Juno, Young Adult, Thank You for Smoking.
Yeah.
These are the films that this guy does. This guy craps quality. I mean, he is so good and he is so young and he comes from great pedigree with the last name Reitman. This guy is just a genius. Wait till this guy's like 50. Imagine how good he's going to be when he's like 50. It boggles my mind. For me, though, my number 1 pick right now, and a lot of people will disagree with me, and that's cool, but it's Tom Hooper. Tom Hooper takes unmakeable movies and makes them Oscar films. The job he did with The King's Speech, unbelievable. He took like a 5-minute scene of just these 2 men characters in an empty room sitting in chairs opposite each other just talking, and it was one of the most riveting scenes I'd seen in movies all of that year. That's what Hooper brings. Then he takes Les Miserables, which is impossible to make that into a film, and he made it, I believe, what should have won Best Picture last year.
Whoa!
He directed Hugh Jackman to the best performance he's ever given in his life. He directed Anne Hathaway to the best performance she's ever given in his life. That's Tom Hooper, and now he's got this Freddie Mercury biopic that he's reportedly working on, which I cannot wait to see. So for my money, I'm going to guess, this is all just predictive. Obviously, it could be wrong. Who knows? Maybe his next 5 films will be crap. But I believe poised to become the next great director that we consider maybe one of the best of all time, I believe is Tom Hooper. Listen, folks, we've gone over time. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, while I've got you, before you do anything else, take a second and click that subscribe button. Become a subscriber to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It'll keep you up to date on everything going on in the world of movie news and, of course, our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/AMC Theaters. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/AMC Theaters. And head on out and see Star Trek tonight, or Iron Man, or The Great Gatsby, or anything. Go on over to www.amctheaters.com for all your movie theater, showtime, and, of course, movie ticket information. And once again, click that subscribe button. I want to thank, as always, our very lovely host today, Miss Clark Wolf.
Thank you so much for having me, John.
Thank you to the now departed Jon Schnepp, the birthday boy. And thank you most of all to you guys. Listen, the most important part of the show is absolutely not what we have to say. It's what you have to say. Make sure you jump on down to the comment section of this video and leave your thoughts on any or all the topics that we discussed here today. I guarantee you we read absolutely every single comment left in there. So once again, click that subscribe button. And until tomorrow, my name's John Campia for AMC Movie News. Bye-bye.